Dismantling the Giants, the Cowboys face another inferior opponent, the 1-8 Carolina Panthers, but could it be a trap game? Joining me with a preview is Locked On Cowboys podcast host Landon McCool. And good morning to you, Landon.
Good morning, Megan, and I agree. This could be a trap game coming up.
There you go. So Dallas, of course, coming off this record-setting win. They could get kind of confident. Do you think it'd be too confident going into Carolina?
I think it's more than that, too. It's playing on the East Coast. It's playing an early game, which they don't play a lot. I think these are, and it's an away game, like you said, and against an inferior opponent. Good teams take care of business. And I do think that the Cowboys are obviously the much more talented team. But I also fear that kind of slow start, that sluggish start, like the Cowboys didn't get out of bed on time. And I hope that they manage to kind of get things going early and get control of this game throughout.
For sure. And so Panthers QB Bryce Young was the top pick in the draft. Do you think he's living up to that? What is your thoughts on his rookie season so far?
Yeah, the Panthers offense has been basically a mess. And there's lots of finger pointing going around. And obviously at the young rookie quarterback who was the #1 pick. So there's high expectations at the head coach but the play caller. They've now changed play callers back and forth at least twice. I think that Bryce Young is an incredibly talented young player. I think he's in a position right now that, even a veteran quarterback would struggle with, just because there just seems to be so much disjointed elements to his offense, whether it be play calling or just playmakers falling and getting injured. It's just been a lot, especially in comparison to what C.J. Stroud has gone through in Houston, a lot more stable situation.
Well, the Cowboys are heavy favorites. Still questions about that offense. Transparency here. I got Dak on my fantasy team, and I was happy with his play last week. What about Tony Pollard? What about that running game? What do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah, it still feels like the running game is a work in progress, and I think that's the thing that the Cowboys are going to continue to kind of work on as these next few games before they start having to play Philly again, and some of the kind of killer's row that they have to face at the end of the season. As it stands right now, it seems like the run game works best when set up by the pass. The Cowboys, when they come out early and throw the ball and be aggressive in the air, it just backs the safeties off and allows more room for running underneath. So I think the Cowboys are probably going to continue to do that as Pollard continues to work himself healthy a little bit. Maybe get Rico Dowdle a couple more carries, because he's a bigger bruiser back, a little bit healthier. And as guys like Terrence Steele and this offensive line kind of congeal, having only played a few games, the starting line's only played a few games together now. As they kind of congeal a little bit more, I think the run game will get better as the season goes along.
And CeeDee Lamb made NFL history against the Giants with his third straight game with at least 10 catches and 150 receiving yards. Will we see a fourth straight game this Sunday?
I think it's possible. I mean, I think that the Cowboys have found something here with the idea of scaling up the touches for CeeDee Lamb. It really seemed to open up the rest of the offense, and I think that's why you've seen the offense explode these last few weeks. I would not stop feeding CeeDee Lamb the ball. I would continue to add more targets until you start to see diminishing returns. And obviously, as you mentioned, he just did something that no other receiver in the NFL history has ever done before while getting all these targets. So let's just keep giving him more targets and let's see what happens.
All right, what's your score?
I am nervous about this game just early on. I don't want the Cowboys to let the Panthers get into this game and make it a slogfest. I'd like for the Cowboys to give control of this game early and put them away. So I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win 30-14. I think it's a 10.5-point spread on the road, which is incredibly high. I think the Cowboys can even beat that. But it may be a little bit of a slog early on as the Cowboys kind of wake up from their coffee a little bit.
Yeah, and I might even knock the Panthers down to like 7 or so with that defense. So thank you so much, Landon. Always appreciate it.
Of course.
All right, you can catch Landon with new episodes of Locked On Cowboys every day. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. A new move today to get